and I'm just going to post this unedited. So once again,
That's fine.
I've found myself into one of these little stews. Let's hope you guys are every bit as good as Populous.
Absolutely. And I want to first take the opportunity to thank you, Cliff, for allowing us to come on your show.
No, no,
We
no.
know you're
This is
very
this is
reputable
cool.
in the community.
Yeah, this is cool, dude. I mean, what's going on here is
And
that we're trying to validate, and I'm trying to validate my own opinion and process here. And so what?
absolutely. So what I want to first set for the record, since we're doing this unedited and straightforward, I want to tell all the viewers that are AR fans, be our contributors, and see part of our community that we are 100% not a scam. I would
Okay,
not
that's
jeopardize
fine. That's fine. But
myself.
your statements don't mean anything. You stating you're not a
Sure.
scam in no way proves you're not a scam. So we can dismiss that because I'm
Absolutely.
old, grumpy. I've been breathing smoke for 3 days, and I just don't have the time to fart around. Okay,
Let's
so
do it.
no offense. Okay, so let's get to
None
it.
taken.
Who wrote the white paper?
Our white paper was written by our Philippines freelancer.
Okay, well, you're going to get sued. I'm not going to go into the details, but you've got all kinds of remissions in there, one of which is you don't attribute copyrights and trademarks to any other organization whatsoever. So you'd better see to that
Well,
right away.
they work for me, so why would I have
No,
to
no, no, no.
put a
You
copyright?
represent Visa and MasterCard. Anytime you use some other company's trademarked trade name, brand name, you've got to reference in the United States publications the trademark and
Absolutely.
registration. You
Correct.
did
So
not do so.
if you look at our terms and conditions, we definitely reference to go to our website, and
That's
we
not
reference
good
the
enough.
fact that
That's not good enough by law, but anyway.
listen, of course it is. We have a legal counsel with which we had that reviewed with.
Okay.
There's no
All right.
necessity for us.
Who's your legal counsel, please?
Susan Prasad LLP.
Okay. Why are there only
Yeah.
3 names on your LinkedIn account for your company and 2 anonymous photos with LinkedIn members?
Absolutely. Great question and great point. And this is the time we're going to clarify and just be straightforward and blunt and honest. So the first issue is we use freelancers to develop our website as well as a lot of our protocols. A lot of people in the world or the country wouldn't want to believe the fact that maybe one individual with a team of freelancers found a use case that was happening overseas and wanted to contribute and actually solve it here in the land that we live in, which is the United States.
Okay, that's
If you
fine.
go look-
That's fine. Let's excuse the my grumpiness here, but let's get into the technical stuff. Okay, so you use freelancers.
No problem.
problems.
I'm here to answer. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here
Okay,
to
then let's get
perform
to it.
your interview.
When you hired freelancers, what countries did you hire them from?
I didn't specifically target a specific country.
No,
All
no, no. I
did
mean,
was use
how did
Upwork.
it end up? I mean, where'd you go to find these guys?
Upwork.com.
Okay, yeah, I use Upwork. Okay, I hook up with some Romanians. I get some work done in Russia. Okay, no worries. All right, that's fine. So you hire all around the planet. You use freelancers. Okay,
Correct.
so now you're the chief technical officer, correct?
As far as that's concerned, correct. Yes.
Okay, and you're listed as the chief technical officer on LinkedIn, and for some reason you're still using an email account from a business that is a car dealership where you were a finance
Correct.
officer.
Absolutely. So I haven't updated my email. I didn't find it a necessity. An email is just a form of communication. I still
No,
participate in that
so-
business.
All right, that's fine. You got to understand, Guy, when you move on to this kind of stuff, every little nitpicky detail is going to be used to boost you or break you down based on the fact that none of us can come and touch you personally. And so,
Right. So we made it very clear from day one since we've launched. Our primary goal was 100% customer service. Every
Okay.
single chat, every single email, and every single request or inquiry was answered. I never thought maybe outside of the box, so shame on me. Yes, maybe I'm not perfect, and I didn't think of
No.
every single solution.
No,
so
no,
I understand that.
Right. I'm not getting on your case that way. I'm just saying this is why we're in this particular situation, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Mistakes
so-
were made, and we need to clarify what the mistakes were, and we need to go
Correct.
forward with our product. So
Right, and-
nothing's gonna take away at the end of the day of what we built, which is very actually simple. And I'll get to that when we get to my portion of being able to talk and explain this
Okay,
of
sure,
what our
sure, go
competitor is
ahead.
doing, and this
Tell
way
me
they
how
can take a
you're-
look at it.
Tell me how you're going to do
Absolutely.
the cards. I want to know why you've got 3 different
Easiest,
kinds.
easiest way to explain it is very simple. And actually, I saw something that I think you said or someone else said on the forum and said, how did they get permission from Visa or MasterCard to use their logo? And I'm going to make it black and white, and this is going to be verifiable. So it's very simple. If you guys go look at a company called uquid.com, uquid.com, they're the companies that sponsor 10X, Monaco, etc. That company is an international company that works with Wavecrest Financial. They do not have that type of licensing agreement to show or display Visa or MasterCard on their cards. That's not how their program and deal went when they first originated it in, I believe, England. I think Wavecrest Financial is in England. Now, to give you guys all an explanation and very simple response, I'm going to reference a lot of ideas and a lot of what's going on in the internet right now, so you guys can what I'm saying and verify it yourself.
Nope.
Sorry.
Nope.
Netspend.com.
Hang on. We're not going to do this that way, guy. I don't have the time for that. I need to get to drill down into some details here.
Very simple. So I make it simple. I answer your question right to the point. You're absolutely correct. BitPay.com advertises Visa. They work with
No,
MetaBank.
we don't care. We don't care about BitPay. We don't care about these other companies. How are you allowed to do the card process?
So very simple. It's very simple. I'm just explaining to you guys what the process is first and giving you guys an idea and a background, because people need to understand the full aspect of it, not just listen to a one-word sentence. It's not going to clarify or relay the message that I'm trying to say. That's as simple as it gets.
But simply, I am not interested in your message. I need technical answers here. Okay, so
Absolutely.
my question comes to
Absolutely.
this.
I'm getting right to it. Bancorp Bank, we have a licensing agreement to use Visa and MasterCard logos on all of our cards. The way we do it is domestically is Visa, internationally is MasterCard. Visa with us has a licensing agreement that we're allowed to advertise and put Visa logos on our cards through the licensing agreement that they have with Bancorp. There are program managers, and we go directly through their licensing agreement. It was a rigorous process.
So you guys aren't actually going to do your own card processing at all. You don't ship them. You don't mail them.
Absolutely. No, 1 second. So yes, absolutely incorrect. We actually, in our program agreement with Galileo Processing as well as Bancorp Bank, it's very simple. We are going to be developing three levels of cards as our primary cards: black, gold, silver, signature, blue. Okay, so those cards are going to be having cardholders' names on them, as well as Centra logos, as well as a Centra chip card. Now, keep in mind, we don't have a direct licensing agreement with Visa. These are all co-branded cards. We are not a bank. We've never advertised that we are a bank. We've never stated we're a bank.
That's fine. Let's stop there for a second. I don't care about the Visa logo. I don't care about the MasterCard logo on the cards or any of that business, none of which is pertinent to me. I want to know how you guys are going to process against an altcoin. How are you going to process against Litecoin or Ether?
Perfect example, and I'm going to make it a use case again. So we have a liquidity pool that's going to be based on the funds that we have available, okay? The way that we make 0% fees is very simple, and it's actually being done with other companies. We don't have anything proprietary. It's all open source. None of the thing that we've built is something that we can say, hey, let's go get a patent on this currently. It's just not possible because it's open source, it's blockchain, as well as it's standard coding, okay? And it's very simple. Use a liquidity pool and use cold storage as part of that way to be able to process charges through a user account and approve it against the liquidity pool. It's a process that we have with our bank. It's based on APIs, and it just connects from our user accounts to our systems to the bank, all in microseconds.
Okay, stop. Okay, so then let me understand this. So you need to go along, and I'm really stupid on this, but basically your liquidity pool is where you want me to send you my Ether. You're going to put them in cold storage.
No.
Okay. Then...
Our liquidity, thank you. Our liquidity pool is based on currently the $7 million that we've raised from our private investor. That is current, active, and hasn't been touched, and that's completely the same exact amount. I pitched the idea, and this is black and white. I pitched the idea to the investor. I can get people from overseas to build this because we have the power of the internet. We can get money. This money wouldn't be considered an investment at the time. It's going to go against liquidity pool. That liquidity pool is not his money that he's saying, okay, I'm going to put towards operations, etc. This money is going to go towards a central fund that's going to make these charges approved with the bank. It's held in escrow with the bank.
Okay, so that's your bonding. All right, sure, I understand. I've dealt with Visa, and MasterCard, and so on. So that's your processing bond.
Now let me go back to what you were saying. So what we do on our aspect of it is the token sale is very simple, and we make it black and white because the SEC is making us make it black and white.
The SEC is not making it.
I'm sorry. So they made an investigative report on DAO, which they clarified a certain
No,
aspects of
they
what's
actually
considered security.
muddied everything up. You're nowhere near the Dow. You don't run a DApp. It shouldn't relate to you at all. If you're
Exactly.
scared of
No,
the
exactly.
SEC, that's fine.
Exactly.
But
Exactly. So no,
let's go
no.
back to
Well,
the answer that you're not giving me, okay? You're not telling me how you're going to process against the blockchain. So let's be explicit about this.
no problem. So
you got
let's
a
go back to that.
liquidity
I'm sorry.
pool.
I'm straying away because I see so many issues that are
Sure,
currently
sure.
in this
We don't
conversation.
care about those. We got to
Yeah, that's
get to
fine.
this in my
Okay.
little head and
Let's
my
get to the
way.
point. No
Okay.
problem. So
Okay, so
very
you got a
simple. Our
liquidity
system,
pool over here in a bank, which is basically a
correct.
bank account, and that bank
Correct.
account you have somehow tied via an API to a blockchain, is what you're
No.
saying?
No. That bank account is the way the funds are paid and approved against the processing. Okay, so our liquidity pool is just as it's pretty much a debit card. It's being held. It's going to approve charges through one central account. Yes,
Sure,
the
sure. I
APIs that
get that.
connect to
Okay.
our system, the APIs that connect to our system go through a rapid transaction that we published on GitHub that allows us to do a checksum balance of people's current balance on our system versus our exchange dollar amount. And based on that, it's either a green light or red light, approve or decline. So if you have balance available and market value is there and the charge is being done, it'll be approved in microseconds.
Okay,
Now, in some
stop. You say microseconds, and I say bullshit. Okay, I say absolute bullshit because I've been on the Ether network and I've seen it take 3 hours to process transactions, and I know that
perfect,
the gas costs are extremely high. So what are you validating
perfect.
against that you can do this in microseconds?
Absolutely great, and this is why I love you, Phil. Cliff, I'm sorry. It's very simple. The liquidity pool and the blockchain are two separate parts, two separate keys. If you read about our currency conversion engine, the reason why it's a 0% fees is because it's just like GDAX
Yeah,
and
but
Coinbase.
you can't run your currency conversion engine in all United States. That's illegal.
Absolutely, we can.
No,
Why
you
can't we
can't.
do
You
that?
can.
Well, no, you're right. All United States, no, you're right. We never just said we could do it in all United States. We said it only in the states that we're allowed to get electronic money transmitting licenses out. You're absolutely correct.
Sure, correct.
And
So
we
that
stated
locks you
that.
out of like 34 states instantly because of the costs involved.
Not
So
34,
so
it's
how do you?
36, it's 36 states. So it's about 28 states because there's 51, 52 states, I think, right? So less,
Okay, guy.
25.
All right, guy. All right. Look. So here's the situation.
Back to the question. Right.
Let's go back to our processing. You've got a liquidity pool, and you're hitting that against an exchange where I've got my Ether or
Not
whatever
an exchange.
coin.
No. Your money, the way and we made this black and white on our white paper as well.
Obviously not, because I didn't understand it.
Okay, so that's you. That's an opinionated answer. You can't speak for the masses. So what I'm going to say is it's really easy. We've said that the Centra wallet attached to the Centra card, as well as in our YouTube video. The Centra wallet attached to the Centra card is the one that lets you spend the money that you have hosted on our cold storage.
Okay, all right,
It's not
stop.
gonna, it's not
Stop.
going to spend.
Sure, I understand that. Okay, so you've got the card. I swipe it at a gas station. How do you connect that card to that wallet? You're saying through some API somewhere. The card goes to.
It's open source. It's open source API. It's all based on what your user balance is at the time.
No,
Connected to our server.
not that side of it. Not that side of it. Okay, I'm swiping my card. That signal is
Got
getting
it.
beamed up to some processor, some third-party processor that's processing my card for you. That
Correct.
is actually mailing the card to me on your behalf. Okay, because you guys don't actually have a room there that you can take me into with this camera and show me a stack of cards you're ready to mail out.
No, absolutely. Well, we have it in California, so that's incorrect, and we can do
Okay,
that
well then-
at Facebook Live as well.
Okay, then let's get somebody there to take a photo of themselves and hold some cards up in today's date, that kind of thing. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, but let's go
I'll
back to the
I'll
card.
have Johnny do that first thing in the morning. It's fine.
Okay, let's go back to the card being swiped.
Absolutely.
Okay, it goes to this third-party processor. The third-party processor, regardless of who it is, it could be Visa or MasterCard, that third-party processor has to get this charge amount over to you, or you're saying that they just hit against your liquidity pool and there's no cross-check there at that instant to see if I've actually got funds.
Absolutely not. So the API, if I'm able to publish it, I'll ask my processor if I am, or maybe I can just publish a part of it. We've already dug through the code. It's very simple. The API first connects from your user wallet to us. Okay, we are the ones that are sending the signals based on the rapid transactions in our code to send the API signals to the bank to approve that charge and that card.
No, it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way.
Absolutely does. This is black and white. We've already made this clear.
No. Hang on, guy. I've worked this shit. It's a demand system. There is a demand against the pool or card when I swipe the card and create a credit or a debit. So you're not sending any information until it's requested from you, correct?
Well, you just said when you swipe the card, what happens? And I'm explaining to you the steps and process of what happens.
Okay. No, you're not. You're starting at the back end. I want to start at the front end where the customer has the card, puts it in there, and it goes up to the satellite. It then goes over to the third party processor. So where does that third party processor connect to you?
Well, see, you're incorrect on that. The processor is connected to our system and API based on those card numbers. They've built that infrastructure already. That can be verified through the processor. It's all connected to us first, and then we shoot that signal over. That's how APIs work. It's able to transmit signals from one place to another, and computers can connect. It goes from them to us.
APIs transmit no signals whatsoever. API is an application programming interface that allows two chunks of code to connect to each other. It's not a separate unit. It's not a transmit channel. It's none of that.
Right, which two networks are us and the bank, and then the bank with us, and then us to you.
Okay, so all right. So what network are you using when you connect to the bank?
It's a standard server.
Okay, so you're doing this like PayPal, so to speak, in that sense. You're using the which system on the banks? What's the name of that system?
No, I don't know the technical name of the system, and I can get back to you on that.
You're the chief technical officer, but you don't know the name of the automated clearinghouse system for banks. Okay, that's fine. You're a young guy.
It's Swift.
You're not supposed to.
On our end, it's.
On your end,
listen, I'm not for here. I'm saying I'm the technical guy that got the project to get developed to where it is now.
You're not a coder. You're not a software engineer. You're not a coder. You're not a blockchain engineer.
No, and I've never stated I was.
So I'm misunderstanding the definition of chief technical officer in LinkedIn then, because a chief technical officer is the person that is in charge of the software engineering and knows why and how you have to charge a fee. So if you guys are,
I have a tech director for that.
And who's that? They're certainly not listed in LinkedIn, and we don't see these names appear anywhere on your white paper. Is not connected to the LinkedIn.
No, it is. Philip is living in Macedonia. He was my tech director that I recruited on Upwork. Very intelligent, smart guy. He's built literally all the infrastructure and coding behind what we wanted, our vision, our goals. We are not the brightest, smartest people. We're not gonna sit here and say that we are, Cliff. Okay, let's be frank and blunt and honest. Your direction towards that is not something that I've ever stated in my life. I did not state I'm the smartest, most intelligent person that knows this topic.
I'm not questioning that. Who's questioning that?
I'm telling you that I went and did my due diligence as an innovator and as someone who's grinding to make this happen. Saw it happen in the foreign countries. 10x did it. Monaco did it. BitPay did it. I found similarities. I saw where I could maximize, and that's what I did.
So theoretically, though, you're right now you're handing out cards. You're actually mailing out these alpha cards or beta test cards.
Our cards are not going out for another approximate week, and then people will have the cards. Correct.
Okay. And then at that point, you have to buy insurance, you say, with this liquidity pool. So basically, to me, it sounds like there's a debit card going.
That's already in process through Praetorian Insurance Company, who's actually also doing the write-up for our $200 million policy for the cold storage wallets that Coinbase has as well. A lot of our ideas, listen, not for nothing, were copied on ideas that are out there. But listen, how many staplers are there? How many brands of tires are there? How many credit card companies are there?
None of this is pertinent. None of this is pertinent, Guy. I'm sorry, but this particular line of response to me, this defensiveness, is not getting you anywhere.
Okay.
This is not the way that you would respond to an appropriate technical investigation unless you were feeling a lot of anxiety about not being able to cover your bases on this. I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize. I did not do my due diligence. And my system is a little goofy, and I can explain it to people later. But the issue is that I thought I was going to be talking to a chief technical officer that could tell me why you guys think that you can process X number of things in X number of milliseconds at zero fee.
It's already done.
At zero fee.
It's already done. How do you think?
Okay, let's stop for a second and look at this. Okay, let's examine this in the broader scope of things.
Sure.
Visa and MasterCard have to charge a fee. They charge an outrageous fee, in my opinion, but they have to charge a fee because of. Why do they have to charge a fee?
That's how it operates. Somebody has to make some money to keep in business.
Okay, why do they have to make some money to keep in business?
Can you explain that to me?
That's what I want you to explain to me. How can you guys stay in business charging no fee when they
Oh,
have to charge a fee?
well, no, listen, very good point.
They have to charge at least
Who did-
0.75% just to cover their
Absolutely.
expenses on fraud.
Well, no, they charge,
On
they
fraud.
charge, they charge,
no.
they charge.
They charge 2.5% to 5% more than that. But I'm saying 0.75% of all transactions goes to fraud on their part, to fraud maintenance, to trying to cut it down into to what little bit they do in recompense to people after the fraud. So you guys are going to be eating 0.75% because there's still going to be fraud against your cards.
Okay, so it's listen, have it as very simple as possible. The way to explain that is there is a revenue share of the process percentage that they get from the merchant who's accepting the charge. They publish it, it's black and white, it's a co-branded product. There's revenue share there. Our goal and ultimate jurisdiction on this is
you're not charging the fee, but someone is charging the fee. So now the way these things usually work is that the merchant would compensate by charging higher good price on the goods, or in a lot of times there's a fee for use on your debit card and so forth at an ATM. Okay, so you're telling me that a bank is going to do revenue sharing on an ATM?
We made it black and white. ATM fees in our fees breakdown. We not said there's no fees, zero. We said there's a 0% exchange fee. What that means, Cliff, and I'm sorry if I didn't explain it correctly before, and I apologize that I'm getting a little emotional about this, is because I put a lot of time and effort into making this. I put a lot of hours of not sleepless nights.
But you didn't actually write the white paper, so you're kind of.
So let me go back to what your question was, because we're going to stray off, and we're going to stray. I don't want to stray off. So it's very simple. The 0% exchange fee, as stated, is that we don't charge you a fee to convert your Bitcoin to fiat. The way we obtain it is very simple. Your Bitcoin is stored on cold storage on our wallets. The money never leaves our cold storage wallets, just like how
that's what
exchanges
I was getting
work.
at. Okay, cool. Okay, now we're there. So I've got Bitcoin, and I get one of your wallets, and it's actually taking my Bitcoin and putting it on your server in cold storage.
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely,
cool.
yes.
Okay, all right. So I'm understanding this, see, because I'm a technical guy. All right, so we put this Bitcoin in cold storage, and then at some point I go to the gas station and I need to fill up my truck with diesel. I swipe my card, and then what happens to my Bitcoin relative to that card? Can you explain
Perfect.
that?
All it does is on your account, that is what does the checksum balance. It would debit the amount of Bitcoins you have. So it would be like a bank account that's online. That pretty much lowers your current available funds. That at that point, if you charge a certain amount and it goes over it, the checksum balance would decline. The money never leaves. It debits it from your account.
Okay, so
that's why we could do it in microseconds without going on.
Because you're not actually hitting the blockchain at all.
Correct. And that's why the currency conversion engine was to develop the ability to spend the Bitcoins without writing it on the actual blockchain until you want to send or receive money. So if you're sending your Bitcoins out,
hang on, guy. I got it. See, I understand now where the big problem lies in all of this, okay? Because the way your paper and your presentation, which to be quite frank are a little bit substandard.
I get it. And I agree. I agree.
But the way that they lay them out, it makes you think that these cards are hitting against the blockchain for validation, and that's not happening at all. So,
where does it say that? I don't.
No. I mean, it's the impression it gives in terms of the linguistics. All right, it doesn't say we're going to take your. I do see the part about the insurance. I read about the pool part of it, but it doesn't actually say we're going to take your Bitcoin from you to fund your wallet, and while we do so, we're going to hold that Bitcoin, and you can't get at it or do anything with it. And so it's not.
Well,
actually
no, I never said that. I never said that.
No, but you should have. You should have, because legally that's.
Well, no, you're saying we're not giving them access to them. You just made a statement that's absolutely incorrect. You have 100% access to your points.
Hang on. There's a difference between the funds and the Bitcoin. Okay, so when I send you a Bitcoin, you could debit it. You could put my Bitcoin into an account and put it in cold storage. I get
Correct.
that. And then you could say, okay, the Bitcoin is worth X dollars. You have an algorithm checks the
exactly.
how many Bitcoins do I have relative to what the current price is, and then okay. But while it is doing that, I can't do anything with that Bitcoin. I can't use that Bitcoin. I can't send that Bitcoin anywhere. I can't in any way involve myself with that Bitcoin. It is no longer in my possession. I have to trust it to you. So
You're incorrect.
you've eliminated the trust aspect.
No, you're
the,
incorrect. You're incorrect, Cliff. Let me just stop you there for 1 second. I'm sorry.
Okay, how am I going to spend that Bitcoin elsewhere while you've got custody of it?
Bingo. So the minute you go into the app or the wallet and you press send or receive and you send your money out, it is gone. It's going to hit the blockchain just like a pending transaction. It only matters of when you want to use the debit card and swipe your money of what you have available on there. Other than that, it's a standard wallet, just like Coinbase.
All right, then you guys are really screwed. Then you guys are really screwed because I could automate the process of loading up the wallet, run out, make a bunch of charges on the card, and then get the wallet emptied before you can hit those
not at all. You can't spend it until it's been confirmed in the blockchain with at least 6 confirmations. Absolutely not.
Okay. All right. So you are using the blockchain to do a confirmation.
No, to get your Bitcoins to our server. Once you have the Bitcoins on our server and it's hosted on cold storage, it's like we own the Bitcoin.
Correct. You own the Bitcoin.
On our system.
Okay.
So we give you the ability to spend the money.
Okay, but you're using...
And then if you want to transfer it out...
Stop. Okay, so now I got it. Now let's repeatedly state this. You own the Bitcoins while they're in your custody. Correct?
We don't own them. No, we hold... It's an escrow. It's not we own them. Own is the wrong word.
Okay, own is the wrong word. You hold the Bitcoins, you control them. I have no longer got any access to that hash code.
No, at that point, you do not. It's just like an exchange.
Correct. Okay, so therefore, at the time that I hand these things to you, your innovation is what you're saying. Your innovation is you're going to do incremental on demand conversion of Bitcoin in micro amounts through a card structure.
No, that's incorrect again.
Okay, then, all right, stop. If that's incorrect, then that must mean you're either going to value the Bitcoin at the time I give it to you to a finite amount of fiat or some other element, or if not, you're going to have to incrementally value it as I spend it in little tiny chunks. A Bitcoin might be worth $3,000 now, okay?
Absolutely, great point. So let me get to it. Absolutely correct. So our system, it's very simple, and it's as black and white as it gets as well in that. You get the value of what your Bitcoins are, just like any other exchange value, et cetera. So whatever the market value is at the time, that's what you have available.
At the time.
Correct.
Okay, so that's a demand. That's a demand system again.
I'm sorry, I wouldn't use that word. I use it as like a rapid transaction as far as different terminology.
From the user's side, from the consumer's side, it's a demand system, or from the programmer's side, it's a demand system. It's not a push system.
Yes. I would assume that's the right wording to use, correct.
Okay, so as opposed to like post and get on HTML. So your protocols then are basically using other people's APIs. Now, a chief technical officer, usually in my case, I would say, well, I happen to know that my software and my servers fail me at X%, that I've got a 22% drive failure over the course of 3 years.
Exactly.
Okay, so how many transactions?
I'll get to that.
Transactions do you think that are going to fail? What's your percentage rate, do you think?
Great point, and we actually did a study on this prior to even getting on here, because this was a very valid point that our processor asked us about what we expect transaction volume to be, to understand what our percentage of declines might be due to system error. And that's understandable, that's technology, and we've already accounted for that. So it would have to take...
No, stop. The reason they asked you that question is because that shit costs money. So what was that number?
The number, it depends on the volume. So it's an incremental volume based on...
No, it does not. I've been in this business. It does not depend on volume. You've got to figure you cannot calculate that. That's like the Michael Scott way of selling paper.
No,
we'll make it up.
I'm not saying that's the reason why. Listen, when you're asking me to answer something, I have to give you the full logistics of it.
No, all I wanted was a percentage.
There's not a way for me to describe and transcribe.
No, there is. It's called mathematics. When Visa runs into this issue, they know that there's going to be 0.x% of their cards that will hit a denied error based on technical issues, either on the card itself
or... It's 4%.
Okay, 4%. Okay, this is what I'm after. All I want is numbers. Okay, so
you're saying I understand.
Okay, so you're going to say you're going to have a 4% decline rate. So what is the cost per decline in your system basis cost per decline in Visa or MasterCard?
I don't know that off the top of my head, to be honest.
What is your cost per decline in any real number? Dollar or metric?
The dollar metric, I would assume it's probably anywhere between 8 cents to 15 cents, but I'm not positive. I have to go look at those figures again. I do not know. I can get that information later.
Okay. Let me get into some other aspects of this. Let's jump around for a minute here.
Okay.
How many people are on your staff?
Currently, there's 8 people on my staff full time, and then the rest are freelancers.
What's the rest? How many is that?
There's about 18 freelancers that I use.
What's your run rate on programming costs per month? How many
About
of those? How
20.
many of those 18 are programmers?
18 that are programmers, it's 10, more or less. I think 10 or 11. I would have to confirm.
Okay, and what's your cost per month in your run rate on their programming, and what languages are they using?
Beautiful. It's Upwork, so the dollar amount is very insignificant. We're paying about $20,000 a month to get all of our full staff working like full time and freelancers around the world.
What languages are you having them program in?
They're programming in PHP. They're doing JavaScript. They're doing API calling as well. They're connecting also to build on the iOS and Android platforms. I think they're using, I'm not sure the exact technical term for it. I would have to look it up. They're building on that platform from the A to Z. So I'm not exactly sure. They're using Ruby. They're using Ruby.
Fine.
They're using.
That's fine. That's fine.
I can go on and on. They're using all different versions.
That's fine. Okay, so now let's go talk about why you. Okay, why are you sitting in that chair now instead of the CEO here that never really shows up anywhere? And why can't we find much in the way of history on you guys at your claimed universities? And what year were you at that university?
Absolutely. Well, you can actually. You can verify, and I can. If you want personally, I would do an authorization for myself and the 8 members of my team. We could do a work authorization. You can post that later on, and we can. All those are true. Okay. The mistake is honest and it's true as it gets. Listen.
No. Hold it. That doesn't answer anything. I just want an answer. I don't want an alibi. I don't want a discussion. I don't want words that are defensive. I don't want you to admit you made a mistake. I want you to tell me what year you went to university.
Oh, for St. John's University, 2009 to 2013.
Okay, and still up to this date, or up until early in 2017, you were working at a car dealership, correct?
I was working at a car dealership as well as I did my own web development for local people at the time, correct.
Okay.
I've been a tech guy for years.
Okay, well, all right, what language do you program in? What web development did you do?
I told you, me personally, I'm not a coder. Everything that I do is a concept design, and I get freelancers to build for me, and I'm the guy who leads them to be able to design my vision. I know.
Okay, all right, that's fine. All right, that's fine then. Okay, now who's the CEO then if you're doing all of this and it's your vision? And what's his role in this?
Mike was honestly an investor who saw my vision and said, you know what, I'm going to do this for you. He gave me the opportunity to get where I am today. He gave me the ability to build this product that just made sense and was being done elsewhere here in the United States. That's all it is. My vision wasn't far-fetched. My vision was very easy, obtainable, and open source to the public that they could even do it themselves. Nothing proprietary. I don't own patents. I never said I owned any patents. All I've said is I've created a use case solution that's being done overseas here.
Okay, so Mike doesn't do shit then. Why is he the CEO? Does he show up at the office every day, or is he just the money dude?
No, to be honest, he's the money dude.
Okay, so all right then. So
maybe I should be the CEO. You know?
Okay. It's kind of a screwy circumstance, guy. I mean, I'm a low bandwidth kind of operation. It's just a few people, but I'm not out there trying to run a credit card company. And the last time I got involved with anybody that was doing credit card processing at all as a programmer, it was on a fairly sizable team. So. Yeah, I can understand you can do a lot of this via remote, and can have you guys write the APIs and so on. But I also know no bank is going to give programmer in Romania or Indonesia or the Philippines
No, not at all.
access.
Absolutely not. So great point. We actually made a statement about it. Due to the fact of the money that we've raised currently in our crowd sale, we've gotten a greater investment from Mike. So now we're going to actually have an operation as well as a full office in Fort Lauderdale to house all of our equipment as well as our staff. That's already been done as of the 29th. I believe we made that decision.
So who's that brings up some other issues. So what have you got in the way of equipment? What's your server farm like?
I don't know the details of it. I have the tech director that did all that for me, to be honest. I would lie to you if I started telling you things that I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. Where's the tech director? Where's the farm? Where's the servers?
Massive. Well, the servers are all based on Amazon Cloud, but our tech director is in Macedonia.
You're doing everything off the cloud?
Currently, just for where we are right now. Everything else is being built offline.
And you're expecting us to understand you're going to do cold storage on a cloud?
No, not at all. I'm just explaining to you. Our wallet's not available for people to even download. That's not nothing is for that aspect is done. That's going to be done on the 19th of August, where we're going to implement our wallet to the public beta release. Prior to this, all we've been doing is testing to make sure that the API calls, as well as my card, which is right here, works and is accessible to work in every case. And we've tried it, and so far, me personally, I have not gotten that percentage of error. That goes back to my point of volume. It's going to take time for that transaction error to occur. Right now, for me to test it is not going to cause an error. Every transaction that I've done on my own personal card.
Okay, so let me understand this then. You're the alpha? You got one card and you're the alpha? And you're going to release beta on August 19th? How many cards are going out in beta?
No. I'm saying what I'm explaining to you is it's not a massive amount of transactions that are occurring in the network right now.
Okay, well, how many people are in your alpha program? How many cards have been shipped out?
There's 150 that are using our card right now.
150.
Correct, only.
Okay, and when you go into beta, how many cards do you anticipate mailing out?
We're mailing out 4,000 cards as of right now, if not more.
In beta, so you're going to go from 150 to 4,000.
Yes, we are.
And you're expecting what error rate? What error rate have you had with alpha?
Not on 4,000. It's going to be very insignificant, and it goes back to my point of volume of where technology is right now.
No. Let's go back to the other part of this. So you're saying that right now, though, as I understand it, you've got a credit card that works through the credit card processing system and hits the bank like every other credit card, and you have yet to implement any of the components on the deep storage of the blockchain.
No, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. No. That's incorrect. We have a working app. We have a working wallet. We have a working card that we're going to actually go tonight at 6:30 and go live again on Facebook and go through with you guys a zoomed in version of the app, everything in transparency. There's no room for error. It's going to be live, unedited. It's going to show the app, the card, everything in functioning in multiple locations throughout a period of 1 hour that we've dedicated between 6:30 to 7:30.
Okay.
After 7:30 on, we're going live on Facebook.
That doesn't prove a whole lot, Guy. I mean, that's kind of like theater for no point.
But you have to understand, I haven't built anything that's not done before. It's all very simple open source stuff. Anybody can build this.
Well, see, that's the thing. Okay, sure. All right. Anybody can do this through the API, and
a co-branded agreement.
All right. So let's look at this another way then. Okay, just for your own illumination here. All right.
Sure.
I know a guy with $500 million. They're just sitting there that he needs to do something with. Okay. And so this guy's got $500 million and he wants to do something with it. And I'm not bullshitting. I actually know this fellow. And if I were to go to him, I would say, hey, look, these guys have got 100% open source solution that allows me to hit off the blockchain and do all of this stuff. And they've got 7 million into it at the moment. What do you say we dump 30 million into it and take this space?
I would say it would be a great investment for himself.
Yeah, it would be a great investment for him to give me 30 million and we'll just come and take your space. We'll just take everything you've got because you don't have anything proprietary and you don't have anything locked up.
And absolutely, we've never stated that we're a competitor. We're someone that's going to have an innovative product as well as a solution with different programs. People will copy us 1,000%. I don't expect myself to become the top name brand company unless I execute now. So I'm executing now. I'm crowdfunding. My next step is to go get seed funding and to take this to another level. Your 500 million is great, but for what I've done in the last 7 days and the data that I've provided of how many people want this card right now already, I truly do believe from the bottom of my heart that this is just the first step of me taking this product to a massive global extent. I believe that
I understand. I understand. You wish that to be true.
Can I ask you a question, Cliff?
Sure.
You saw Filecoin, right? Got $54 million in tokens, right?
Sure. Yeah, okay. Filecoin is shit. Doesn't mean that it got $54 million because
bingo. So if a company like that got $54 million, why don't you think that I'm going to be able to now take what I've gotten already from where I am now and not get $100 million?
No, that's fine. Okay, but let's also look at this.
Sure.
There was this really cool guy. He had a corporation registered in Delaware. This guy raised hundreds of billions of dollars, billion, billions of dollars over the course of years. We called this guy Bernie Madoff. He ran a scam. Everybody got
Right.
wiped out. Okay. My issue is not whether or not you're going to be successful in raising a whole lot of money on an ICO. That's not my
Got it.
issue. Okay,
I got it.
my issue is that people read my reports. I'm looking out for long-term
I've,
value.
I, I,
Okay.
I've said that myself. I've said that myself about you. So I agree.
Hang on. So here's the deal. It is possible for one person with a vision to go in and get some stuff done and get it done well and to succeed. All right, I grant you that. But it's also very possible that certain understandings are not accurate. All right, and these will come back. And if you don't allow for these misunderstandings, these misapprehensions of the world, that you're going to get bit in the ass. So there's some things that I question. All right, here's my.
I understand. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, here's my situation. The tech you're using is going to fall down against the blockchain because blockchain speeds cannot be predicted. So you can never ever count on being able to get a transaction through the blockchain in XYZ number of milliseconds. And if one was, as I suspected you were, counting on that and touting that you would be able to do this, I suspected you had some kind of a proprietary way of doing it. If you don't,
No.
okay, if you don't, and I see
It's
what
open
you're doing,
source. Yeah, it's open source. Yeah.
yeah, then you're extremely vulnerable to somebody coming along and doing your job better than you, not necessarily
Absolutely.
not
I
necessarily
agree.
faster or any of that. So I
I
understand.
agree.
Okay, so I understand where you're at, and I understand what you're trying to implement. Now, as a technical person, I think that your approach to alpha is bullshit. And I also, I would do if I were doing a technical alpha for some of the people I've worked for, we would roll
Right.
out 20,000 in our alpha, and we would expect to spend X number of hours per cohort in our alpha in hours fixing all the problems. And then in beta, we might roll out 7 times that amount and seal.
Well, can I answer? Can I just answer that real quick,
Sure.
please? I'm sorry. And that's just, and this, blame me for not maybe going to school for that type of aspect. I went to school for finance. I didn't go to school for technicalities and specifics like that. And you might have, and I respect that, and I agree with you. My terminology might be incorrect, but I'm not launching just one phase of beta. I have planned 4 phases of beta, so maybe I should have reworded it differently.
You should.
Right now,
You should. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
here's the
apologize
thing.
because that's not my vision. I'm not going from alpha, beta, live. I have like 4 segments of beta that I have already configured in terms of time wise before I get to my actual full launch in October. And that's, maybe I should use different words, so I apologize about that. But I'm not going from alpha, beta, public. Absolutely not.
So
I have many phases in beta.
Right. And so just from a technical viewpoint, not being too critical on this. So basically you're saying from August 19th until some point in October, that's going to be your beta period?
It's going to be in phases of our intro beta period, correct? And then after that, we have another beta period where it's going to be public, like to everybody.
Okay. Okay. So at that stage,
Up to a certain count, obviously.
Okay. All right. So now, all right. There's a whole lot of stuff in this world that's really nasty and terrible. So
I agree.
Who's your nasty and terrible guy? Okay. Who's the fellow that is going to protect your ass and is in charge of security for your system?
Well, we're going to hire an independent company to do that with the funds that we've raised.
You're fucked.
Why?
Because that independent company cannot in any way validate or verify their ability to do your security.
Oh, no. I'm sorry.
You just said you were going to hire an independent company to do your security.
No, as far as auditing is concerned, not the actual infrastructure. That's all going to be.
What do you have to audit? What are you going to audit?
We have to make sure that our system is 100% secure and PCI compliant, not just from our aspects, but a third-party independent audit. It was a requirement.
For the APIs. Okay, I understand what you're saying. You're talking about code people, not financial audits.
No, not at all. Sorry.
Okay, all right. So now who's your chief technical officer for security?
So far, we do not have that position filled.
Okay, and yet you've designed the whole system without that input.
What do you mean? I'm the one who got the system built from A to Z. I
know, and you don't know computer security. You've just admitted that you're not a technical guy. You barely are able.
It's Philip. Philip's our technical director. He's gotten that to the T to make sure that our system is fully secure. I would have to.
Okay, stop. To
answer those questions.
In your alpha phase, alpha phase, you're going to have again how many? 150 people.
No, that's internal that we have right now. Just internal people.
So how many people will be using the wallet and the card at what point? So in other words,
So
by October,
yes,
how many people will have the wallet?
No, well, August 19th, we're gonna have 4,000 people that are gonna have access. As of right now, the number is gonna probably increase.
No, no,
For
okay,
beta.
all right. All right. So August 19th, 4,000 people will get your
If,
wallet.
no, I don't want to. No, if not more, because this is just based on
Okay,
data
all
I
right.
have
So
right
so
now.
I don't care about the more. I just need to
Right.
know some number to start with. Okay, so you know you're going
Yes,
to be sending out at least 4,000 of these wallets on August 19th.
correct.
Okay, and so that's the beginning of your beta phase.
Yes,
And
we made that. Yeah, we made that
okay,
clear.
all right, and you expect people to use these wallets with against a real life situation or against test network or what?
No, so we've made it, and we might make changes to it. We're gonna actually take all of the information that you're even providing us now, and we're gonna see what we could do to improve in any aspect until we get to August 19th. And my
Well,
plans
okay,
currently,
okay. So
and they
so
might
look,
change.
all right, you're going to have to change because here's the deal. When people
Sure.
do this, I was talking with some German guys, okay, and we didn't record. We just did a little bit of a chat. These people
Sure.
have allocated X number of hundreds of thousands of dollars for bounties. Nowhere do I see that you guys have even gotten to the concept of security
Of course we
bounties.
have. Of
Okay,
course we have.
when is
It's
your
on our
hack?
website, Bug Bounty.
Okay.
Bug Bounty's on there. And we've actually, if you go look at a Bug Bounty, we offer a good amount of sum of US dollars. It's up. I can't put it up right now. You guys can go to Centra.tech/bug bounty program or bug bounty program or bug bounty, and everything is on there. If you could just look at it, pull it up for a second.
Hang
so
on
I
a
can
second.
just see.
Hang on a second.
Yeah,
Okay, let me
absolutely.
get that. Okay, so now Centra tech / what?
Try bug dash bounty.
Bugs. Okay.
Let me just see if I'll pull it up to you. Hold on one second. Let me see. Centra tag. I think it's maybe bug bounty dash program. Oh, bug bounty sign up. One second.
It doesn't.
Yep, perfect. I got it. It's bug dash bounty dash sign up.
Okay. All right. So let's describe this. How does
Sure.
that deal with our security issue then?
Excellent. So this is our bug bounty that we've implemented since day one. It goes in a level of stages from vulnerability to reward. Our first one is remote code execution. There's a $9,000 US dollar reward.
Okay. Well,
plus
wait. You got me confused. You said you've had this since day one, but you don't have any code to test against. Nobody's got a wallet to check any bugs against.
I just said we have 150 of us that we've been testing this internally.
So you've got 150 people that are working against this bounty, and that's it, and they're all internal.
No, not working. We're not working on this bounty. This is a national bounty program.
Okay,
We've had
all
a
right,
lot of-
wait. If it's a national bounty program, I cannot participate in it because I can't check your code because I don't have a wallet to try and do the bug hunt against.
No, incorrect. Those people that have signed up, there's a form on our website. If you guys go see it, you can fill out that form and apply for the bounty. And we, as Philip goes and takes those applications, reviews them, calls them, and explains like where they think they can get this issue from and shares the code. He takes care of that. But we've made this program
Okay, so wait a
available.
second. So
since day one.
wait. Guy, you've got somebody else in a foreign country that you don't control in charge of a bug bounty program who could be ripping you off right and left. How do you know that
No,
Philip is?
Phil-
No,
Phil-
wait. You can't tell me that Philip could not create his own series of people requesting bug bounties and saying, yeah, they're in there, and pay them out.
Mhm.
So now,
Absolutely
on top
correct.
of
So
that,
that's
okay, on
no,
top
you're
of
right.
that,
You're right. I
on
agree.
top of
I'm not
that,
disagreeing with you.
on top of that, you basically don't have any control on the process because you have no oversight on what's going on what was his name, Philip? Okay, so you don't have any oversight. You don't see the bugs. You personally don't know how many there are. You don't know how many hours he's spending on it, and none of these bugs relate to the security issue. Okay,
You're wrong. Can I clip? You're incorrect.
No. Hang on. Security is handled as a separate issue entirely. Okay, there's the security at the level of you're touching into the API and the vulnerabilities that come with every one of the APIs. How many APIs are you using, by the way?
I think there's a total of 6 APIs or 8 APIs that we're using currently.
Okay, but you don't know, 6 or 8. Okay, all right. And you don't know what languages they are, and you don't know how they intrude in terms of what you have to do. Some APIs have to be reached with a specific language, or if you want to reach them with another language, you've got to put a big wrapper of code around it, which induces other security vulnerabilities. So basically, You're telling me that you've got somebody in a foreign country that's in charge of finding bugs.
No.
And let's
so that's
assume,
what can I just
Sure,
stop
go
you there
ahead.
because you're going to continue going on and your
Okay.
point is actually completely incorrect.
All right.
The point of Phil's job is to make sure that the job is done. He's not going to be responsible for what's going on in terms of the code validation. We are going to have, prior to 8.19, we've already made it clear, prior to 8.19 is where we have time to make sure to make everything work correctly. And we're going to make sure it's going to have...
Sorry. That's laughable. I've been in on this. You can't throw
What?
money at software and expect it to work on a date you anticipate. How long is the code review going to take?
The code review is going to probably take 14 days.
No. How many lines of code do you have? And how many languages?
Probably over...
You don't know.
Yeah,
Never
I don't
mind.
know.
Okay, so you don't know any
I've
of
already
this.
told you.
All right, and you're guesstimating that it'll take 14 days. You've never run a code audit. Now, a code audit is an iterative process. They don't come back and say you're clean. Okay, this is not like an STD test.
Right.
Okay, they come back and they say we found the following items of concern. Then you go and you fix that, and then you test again, and then you bring it back to them. Or if it's 100% compliant, you really worry. Okay, because compliance in no way certifies that it will do anything other than meet these particular standards. Doesn't say it works, doesn't say it works fast, doesn't say it's secure, and it also does not in any way say it's ever been security tested. So fundamentally,
right. We never made those statements. We've never once.
That's the problem. That's the problem. In your line of work, in the handling other people's money, especially when you're going to put their money in your cold storage, which basically means you own it, you've got control of it, whether it's legal or not, you've got it in your little hands, and you can take it away from them by your stupidity or fraud. Either way, when you're doing that, you've got to address security seriously, and you're not doing it at all. Okay,
well,
your security test.
We're not. When we're going to be available, Cliff, to the public to use.
That's
all
August 19th. That's August 19th.
All these, I urge the viewers and the contributors to see that there will be a full report from A to Z to all the statements that are required to make sure that it's safe, secure, and compliant.
Okay, now stop.
Prior to that.
Stop. Okay, here's the problem. On August 19th, you're going to roll it out. It'll have that statement. It'll be just like what happened on the Ether network. Okay, those $300 million worth of Ether coins that were stolen across code that was safe, secure, compliant, met all of the conditions. And yet they were still stolen by a hacker because the people that were involved didn't do their due diligence on security. So, stating those things that some third-party company that I don't know and I have no faith in, you're asking me again to trust you. And this is where this whole system falls down. This whole system is based on whether or not we trust you to hold our money in cold storage and hold and do things appropriately. And I'm sorry, frankly, now I don't trust you. You haven't thought of any of these things. You're not a deep thinker about all of this, and you've got some serious issues with your product design, especially the idea that you're going to rely on open source stuff. I love to hear that people are proprietary, and they've got something there.
Nothing. So 10X is my competitor. They have nothing proprietary, and they do the same exact system as we do. We've copied and implemented Coinbase's system as well as 10X's system and what we need and require. Did you go
to Coinbase and see what they've got?
Absolutely.
You've looked at their code?
No.
Okay, no, you have not looked at their code. You don't know what their operating expenses are. You don't know what the operating expenses are from these other companies, and yet you want us to trust you that you've used the same system as them, and yet you can't tell me what the operating costs are involved in Coinbase. And Coinbase, by the way, is not a good example to be holding up as knowing what they're doing with code. They've got all kinds of problems,
Understandable, but they stand behind their customers, and that's what we're going to do as well.
Okay, that's fine. You can stand behind the customers all you want, but there's nothing you're saying there in what you've delivered here that says you've got anything close to a technical grasp of what you're doing and able to deliver.
You're absolutely right. We've never stated that for security, we haven't stated anything about security. What we've stated that we've accomplished is in our white paper. There's nothing more to it.
Right. There's not very much in that either.
We'll get there. People need to understand and trust.
Okay, and this was written by a guy in the Philippines. So how much coordinations did you have with him?
Oh, of course. I'm the one who personally went in it with him. I didn't do the proofreading, but I'm the one who gave him
Obviously. So because you're not following the trademark rules and copyright rules and how all that's done.
Hold on. Once again, you're incorrect.
Look at the trademark.
No, you're wrong. I went through with Susan. If I reference to where to see the trademark,
there's Visa and MasterCard listed in your white paper, written out without the trademark attribution in there. That's what I'm talking about.
And if you reference the white paper, it states that all of our terms, conditions, as well as what you said, the rights, all rights reserved information is on our website on a certain page that describes every trademark and who they belong to.
Right, I understand, and that's not how you really want to do business, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so you know what, Cliff, you're right. I'll correct that. I agree with you. I think
this is
now
my
that you
point.
open my
You've
doors to that,
got a lot of
right.
things. You've got a lot of things to correct. I don't think you're necessarily a scam, but I also don't have a whole lot of confidence in what you're doing here. My problem is the way that I got trapped into this was following my own data, having lived through 3 or 4 days of this hellacious smoke with no sleep, and this is the last ICO.
Can I ask you, Cliff? Can I just ask you a question? I'm sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
I paid and actually read your report after I heard you wrote about us.
Okay.
I'm just, for my own curiosity, because I'm glad I get the opportunity to ask you this. Can I just ask you where that data came from?
Sure. Here's what happens. I don't go out and look for ICOs, all right? I go in and look in my own processing for business niche stuff that shows up within what we call the markets entity. And within there, I find certain linguistic clues, and then I go on out and see if those linguistic clues are backed up by something in reality. And so in the case of Veritasium and Centra, there was a Latin language center that allowed me to cluster in on my particular set theory. And it describes...
I don't understand what that means. Can you just... I'm sorry, I'm losing a little bit on the...
Centra is a Latin word. Okay, Centra means something in Latin.
I didn't know what you meant. Okay, go ahead.
As Veritasium does. All right. So, so in my data sets, I find an area that references a competition to pay, a competition to 10x. All right. And so, I see in my data, we've got duality expressing. This I know to be a very factual thing in my data sets. And so it looks as though Universe wants to replicate Visa MasterCard with some competition to 10x.
Right. And so that's what our goal was, correct.
Okay, all right. So I start drilling down into my data sets, and I find that the competition is likely to be named in a Latin effective word. And so I start going on out with some of my spiders, and I look and I find Centra. My problem was that there is a Centra credit union.
Right, and we never. Can I
I
stop you there?
I know you're not related to them. You're not related to them. That was not never. No one ever made a claim of that. But it screwed me over because Centra,
I'm sorry. I get it.
Centra, the credit union, has tons and tons and tons of legitimate linguistics because they've been in business for a long damn time.
I understand. Okay. Makes sense. Okay.
So it masked over the data for Centra Tech. All right. And so, in essence,
to your own the way you do your reports.
Right. My report screwed me over because I believed my data. I was tired, and I appropriated all of the language for Centra, the credit union, and mistakenly put it in on your Centra Tech org.
I got it. And listen, I agree. No problem. I understand, and I think your viewers will 100% agree with that as well.
Sure, it was my screw up. It was my screw up, right? And this is why we're having this discussion. Because
exactly, and that's perfect. And that you just said it yourself. Things happen. Everyone's not perfect. Our main goal is to make sure that we've built a viable product for the masses. We want to create global
Sure. I get you, Guy. I get that.
That's my vision. That's my vision. I'm not here to scam anybody. I wouldn't have raised $4.5 million, came on here to scam anybody. This is a bigger goal, a bigger mission, and I have a dream that I want to obtain. And this is really the American dream.
Sure, I get that. But in my way of thinking, I personally wouldn't put any ether in your project. Okay. The reason is that I don't think you have your technical shit together here. All right. And the way you're relying on.
Listen, Cliff.
And the way you're relying on the way you are relying on outside contractors is not good in the structure of your business. Although the concept of relying on them is fine. Okay, but if there's some things you hold close, you don't farm out security ever. You don't farm out the ability to do bug reports to the guy who has to.
Cliff, we're not. This is all preliminary work.
You basically have ignored security because the first person that should have been hired next to you, the person who should be standing right next to you right now, is your chief technical officer that really understands technical stuff and who should also be your chief security officer.
Right. I should be the CEO. You're right. I should have not took the responsibility as CTO. I'm a technical guy, but maybe I'm not the science guy behind it. What you actually did is open my eyes, and I think based on where we are right now, I will make it my due diligence by Tuesday to hire the right chief technology officer.
You can't do that. Look, Guy,
Why?
that's so Pollyanna. How are you going to find this person?
Why?
You can't go to LinkedIn and find somebody.
You're right. Absolutely not. It's the power of the internet. I'm going to put a good compensation plan where it's going to be attractive for the right person. We have money at this point. We're going to make sure on our end with our investors,
You
we
have
do it
money. You
correctly.
have money, but you have no discrimination. My point is, you don't even have a list in terms of criteria of what you're looking for in a security guy or a chief technical officer.
Hold on, and that's
Do you
part
have
of the internet.
do you have a PR person in terms of personnel
Yes, I do.
resources?
That I do. PR I do. His name is Steve
No,
Stanley.
not public relations, human resources.
Human resources, yes, we do have. It's Kerry Hagner.
Okay, then why hasn't this person gotten a list, waving it in front of you right now, saying these are the criteria that we need in our chief technical officer? We developed those weeks ago.
Well, that's an assumption that you're making. She absolutely has given me a list of potential list of people that we need to get on staff.
No. Sorry. Okay, look, it's fine for you to be involved and micromanage and know who you're hiring and all of that kind of stuff, right? But before you hire anybody, you've got to know what you're hiring them for and what this person is going to look like, what skills they've got, and so on. So you should be able, as a chief technical officer at your level, which is really the chief software architect, even though you don't program, you should be able to say, well, these criteria would include and describe an individual that is like this. Okay, this person would have had 20 years coding in the following kinds of languages. This person would have been involved in these kinds of businesses in doing that coding, and we will have to be able to vet them. How long does it take the vetting process to go on? And are you going to use a third-party company there?
No, so it's once again, and Cliff, you got to understand this. I know you're an old timer, and I get it. You're a very intelligent person. I respect it. You have to understand one thing, and the viewers have to understand one thing. We're in 2017. The power of the internet and the networking, it's become such a lightning way to be able to connect and do things that it does not relate.
But it screws you over a lot, and it does not in any way speed up what's going on in your mind. If you don't know what you're looking for, you're not going to find it any faster just because the internet exists.
Of course you do. That's called research and data. I pull up what I need to do and look up, and I research. I've been up 18 hours a day doing research. It does not take me more than 3-4 hours to get information and knowledge that I need to get online, Cliff, and be able to make
I understand that, but there's certainly no demonstration of that. I do that kind of stuff all the time, but your LinkedIn pages don't show anything of that kind of skills. They don't show that you've been putting in these 18 hours of research. There's no demonstration of it in the white paper.
Right.
You could have written that white paper in 2 hours on your own. The graphics are really cheap in terms of putting them in there. If you go,
but that's your opinion. That's all your opinion.
That's exactly so.
People that have invested, hold on, Cliff. People that have invested $4.5 million see our vision and see where we want to go with this, and they agree that what we're doing is A, not proprietary, B, not that difficult, and C, very achievable. We've just put the masses together to be able to do that.
All right.
And that's that's my explanation to it.
I understand.
It might not be a valid one. It might not be the best valid explanation. I can only speak for myself and speak on behalf of myself and my company, and that's really it. If I don't meet the standards of for example, I think, honestly, I don't meet the standards of your report. I think you classify very important, high logistics companies. I am not there. I'm a startup. I haven't been in business for 20 years. I've been in business for less than a year and a half. I've gotten everything that I've gotten to this point of where I am in limited time. I am not nothing extraordinary.
So you have not made any of the.
Was Snapchat that? Was Instagram that? Was any of these companies that started off where they started off that? No, I'm a startup.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Instagram and some of these companies were 10 years before they were overnight successes. So you're claiming that you're in some way going to replicate their success says you might be a success in 10 years.
No, not at all. And our roadmap is very prudent and it describes that our goal is not to make this an overnight success. This is going to be
you have a very ambitious rollout period here with no consultation with a security officer and no consultation with a technical officer.
We are before 8/19. And honestly, and I'm making this for the viewers and everyone as public as possible. Our original plan was to roll out in October, if not later. We pushed it to August. We pushed it to this August because we wanted to get the beta app to users so they can confirm that the app really exists and the card really exists. That's the reason why we pushed it forward, because we were getting a lot of complaints, and I understand. Maybe I didn't.
But you're gonna put yourself into a huge vulnerability. Okay, if you because look, you're going to have a beta app out there that people put money into, and you're going to have hundreds of thousands of people that are be cracking against it.
I have to stop you there for one second, because I think maybe I didn't say it correctly, or you didn't interpret it correctly. We are only launching on 8/19 if we meet our protocols. Our ICO period is for 2 months plus. Our product line is not to get it out to the masses immediately. And if we're not able and capable and ready by 8/19, then we might give some private invitations to select contributors to test it themselves amongst themselves, but it would not be a full blown program. We will not make that mistake. We will not put it in the hand of masses people to download without it being proper. That would be
Okay, so
negligent.
okay,
That would
so
be negligent.
no, see, that's the problem, guy. That's not negligent. That's the way you do this, because in the real world, it's a jungle out there. People will be trying to crack you. So you set a
Right.
bounty
We won't release.
for
We wouldn't
security.
release until we're good on security. We would never do that. If
Okay,
anything,
see,
we
all
would do,
right,
like I said, we would do a private beta amongst very small contributors, and we would tell them at the time that these are the risks involved. If you want to try the software, great. We have to have you sign a disclosure. If not, you have to give us time to get it correct. We're not going to build something and give it to somebody unfinished. We're not doing that. We would never do that. But what people need to realize is that A, we have a licensing agreement with Bancorp to do this product in the United States, and B, no one else does. The only our competitor that does is BitPay, and they only do Bitcoin. So before the competitor gets here, I'm already signed. Now I have to make sure my product is deliverable. That's not the difficult part to do. That takes time. You know,
Okay,
and I'm
there
sorry
you go.
that
There you go. See, there's where we fundamentally disagree. Okay, I think it is very difficult to do because I've done a lot of that work, and the integration work is all very tedious, and it always takes many, many more months than anybody anticipates. And an effective, mature business person calculates first risk, especially when dealing with other people's money, and is not so
absolutely.
glib and is not so glib
But you're going
about
back to
saying
the
that.
point. Well, you're going back to the point of what I just clarified, Cliff. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's just, once again, I gotta just make it clear.
Sure.
We will not make this product available to the population without it being secure.
Okay,
100%
wait.
in-house.
Okay, because
And we
see,
have
there's
the funds.
There's the rub. There's the rub. Real products, when they go out, and I've released some on my own, you need to have them released in an insecure environment, which is the real world, and you need to, and so it's not going to be 100% secure ever.
You haven't heard me. That's why we have the 150 that we're testing right now, and we're going to enroll more. We're going to make sure that mathematically it makes sense prior to us.
Okay, wait a second. Are these 150 guys you're enrolling, are they known hackers and crackers?
A handful are. I don't know the exact number, but yes, they are.
Okay, so you're actually paying people that to crack and test the system.
Correct, right now.
Why didn't you state that earlier? How much are you paying them in what amounts?
I don't think you've asked that question. This is the first time.
Sure. I've been going into the security. You could have shut me up right away, saying, "Hey, we got 25 people. We're paying 80,000 a month."
I kept explaining to you before. We've had our bug bounty sign up for a long time.
Bug bounties and security are not the same thing. Bug bounty.
Absolutely. Well,
okay.
this is how we got the people involved, plus the internal guys that we know through friends and family and network to go through with this through the software so far to find bugs and flaws in our system. And we've made corrections. If I go back and
how much have you spent? How much have you spent in your bug bounties?
Over $150,000 of our own money.
What's over 150,000? 200,000 is over. 3,000.
No,
300,000 is over.
No, it's probably 100.
You don't know. Okay, you don't know.
But that's only been for since. Let me just interrupt real quick. That's been, and we've announced that this has only gone to full testing. I think at the end of May, beginning of June. So this is it's.
So you're gonna have a full testing period that runs from the middle of June to the middle of October or middle of August.
That's what I'm explaining to you is we are not going to get this product available to the masses unless it is fully ready, Cliff. We're not going to do that. Absolutely not. That would be, like I said, it's not going to make sense for us to do that. And risk. I read a lot. I read it on the internet. I know what's going on the internet. I know who's being hacked. I know what's going on. I know when money's being lost. And I have used this knowledge.
Let's approach this another way. Okay. You're the chief technical officer, but basically you're the CEO, and you're in charge of spending the money man's money as well as all the money that comes on in. All right. And so, how much are you allocating?
That's
test?
Hold on. That's not my exact responsibility. That's my CFO's responsibility is to budget appropriately and get that done. I just oversee it. I make sure it makes sense.
Sure, I understand. Okay, all right. I'm a CEO, all right? I've got very few people working for me, and I'm talking very few people because I don't get along with people. But I know down to the gnat's ass what they cost me, okay? I mean, I can tell you in any given period how much the money is going out. That's just me. I like keeping track of the money.
Right.
And it's my money, okay? It's not other people's money. If I were trying to deal with other people's money, I'd be really freaked out constantly. So now here's the thing. How much are you guys going to allocate for your testing process? What is your budget? What's your budget? Not the time.
Right. No, I get it. Let me pull up that information. I think I have that available right now. Because as you can see, this is a Sunday. I got on at my house. I'm not at my office. And I have most of my resources available. Let me just scroll through this. Hold on. Okay. Where is it? Okay. So as of right now, there it is. Okay. So part of our development budget that we've set aside is 25% of all allocation of our token sale goals, which is to hit 170,000 Ether in essence. So our 25% budget is based on that. We have to hit milestones as well so that we can get to our target.
That 25% covers what? What's it supposed to cover?
Everything in regards to the infrastructure development.
So you can't tell me right now what your expectation is in dollar terms.
No, of course I can.
Or Ether for what you're going to spend on testing.
No. Let's.
How much will you spend?
I'm sorry. I thought you were asking me what our percentages allocated are. If you want me to give you a numeric value to what I've estimated so far from based on my knowledge.
Well, no, wait a second. You can't tell me 25% because that's your total development cost. That's not security.
No, you're right. So we're anticipating about $450,000 being allocated just for this portion of security and network testing.
Okay,
in total.
So, all right. So what are you going to buy with that 400 and plus thousand?
We're going to have a plan. We don't have a plan yet in stone, to be honest. I'd be lying to you if I told you right.
All right. So you have no plan, but you sort of have a guess as to the kind of money you might spend on it.
You
need to have all this done by August 19th.
No, I don't need to get it done by August 19th. That's something we've pushed up because we have the ability to issue our cards now. That's one of the reasons why we pushed it up.
No, and I don't really care about the card part. That part's done deal. I mean, you're not doing anything differently with the cards that anybody else does.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
So
we're just
all
doing
of the card part.
We're doing it. Hold on, we are. We're doing it first in the United States to give you access to 8 blockchain assets. That is the first thing we're doing.
No. On the card part, you're not doing that. Your card doesn't.
The card is different. Yeah, it is because no.
You're having the card processed by a third-party person that goes back to a central pool through an API. You don't control the card. You don't do the card processing. You don't own any of the servers that are doing it.
You can't use it. But you're missing the point, Cliff. You can't use the card unless you have those 8 blockchain assets on our wallet.
Correct.
As well as funds available.
I got that. You've got to. In fact,
so that's all connected. You can't distinguish the card separate from what the process
but I do distinguish because I'm a technical guy and I've had to write code for both sides.
Okay.
See, so
understood.
Okay, so I'm approaching this from that viewpoint. All right.
Understood.
All right. So what I want to know is, and I still have not heard, is but basically what it comes down to is you're never ever going to hit the blockchain. You don't have to rely on blockchain engineers.
Only if you're sending and receiving.
Sure. And your wallet's going to handle those through the standard ways, and then it goes right into some kind of a cold storage, and then you may or may not have a conflict. So here's another technical issue, right? Sure. So a guy goes and he buys gas, and then he heads back and he transfers out the rest of his wallet. And he's legit. He's not trying to cause any kind of problems. He's not trying to do a fraud or anything. He just doesn't want to use the card anymore after buying that gas. He wants the rest of his Bitcoin or whatever it is so that he can go and invest in some other thing. Now, when he does that, let's say that there's even 2 hours. Okay, let's say that there's 2 hours of transit time between him buying gasoline and then going to get his Bitcoin transferred out.
That's incorrect. Hold on.
No. He goes shopping, and then 2 hours later he tries to transfer his Bitcoin out.
Yeah, he can't because it's all based on. It's just like Coinbase. It's all based on your account value at the time of you're doing an event. Whether the event is spending, whether the
That's
event
my
is
point.
spent.
That's my point. Concurrency. Okay.
Yes.
And so you guys.
Like I said, I'm not good with words. Okay, let's just make it blunt and honest. I just know what we're doing. You know.
Sure, I understand. But the fact that
your English is way better than mine. So.
Okay, so you're not a native English speaker.
No, I am. But I'm saying you sound like you're an English major.
Okay,
you sound like my English professor.
I'm a linguist because I do software. Okay, so I'm kind of curious that nobody around you has talked about the problems and the issues that are involved in making this system work.
Yeah, security.
No. I mean, you should have heard it, and you should have been using a different language. But we can get beyond that. Maybe it's not necessarily your forte in this. But here's my problem with this. It fundamentally comes down to I have a trustless system now. When I go to spend my Bitcoin, the blockchain makes sure that I don't double spend, and it makes sure no one else can spend it.
No, the
Okay.
blockchain doesn't do any of that. You've got to go back to the point. You've gotten the connection correct, but you keep
No, no,
drifting
no,
away
no.
from
In regular Bitcoin, in my regular Bitcoin wallet, not your
Oh
system.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. Well, no. On our system,
Okay.
no. Once again, on our system, you don't have access to your private keys. It's black and white. We're making that public.
Sure.
Every one of
Sure.
our clients know that.
I grant
You
that.
can't spend it unless it's A, in our system verified, and B, that the available balance is for you to be able to send.
And
It's just not
also,
doable.
basically, I can't spend it unless I spend it through you, unless I want
No.
to withdraw it.
Well, no. You could withdraw, you could spend, or you can transfer. If you want to transfer it somewhere else to make a
Sure.
payment to someone, you
Right.
can.
Right.
Once
And
again, it goes against
okay,
checks
now
on balance, and then it's
stop
a
right
deduction.
there. Stop right there. When you do the transfer, okay, so I've got Bitcoin in your system in the wallet, and it's being used to validate. Now, so I've got Bitcoin in my wallet. Is it in your cold storage?
It's in our cold storage.
Okay, so then how can I transfer that to someone else to make a payment?
So that's just because your Bitcoin is stored on cold storage doesn't mean our liquidity pool is going to be no Bitcoin. We're going to
So
have,
you're going to pay for me. You're going to pay for me, and not really.
in essence, and debit our cold storage appropriately through our internal accounting. Correct.
Okay, and so it's not actually, so most of the stuff you're doing is not actually ever going to be a blockchain event until it actually comes back and touches the blockchain again.
Exactly. It would be all an
Sure, I
internal
got
system.
you. Okay, I understand. All right, that makes a lot of sense, and it does to a certain extent eliminate a lot of the issues of security vulnerability, and it certainly does bring up the ability to do processing faster because it's all on your servers. But of course, it won't happen on a cloud. This is not ever going to happen.
No.
on a cloud.
I'm saying right now we're testing on the cloud because everything is remote. When we
Sure.
have our Fort Lauderdale office open up this week, we're going to have everything starting off there. We're probably going to move closer to Midwest because it'll be more affordable. But for right now, this is where we're going, so we can all keep an eye on it.
Okay, so how many IT guys do you have to run your server farm? And when are
For
the
our
servers when are the servers coming in?
Great. Carrie Hagner has already recruited 15 people here in Fort Lauderdale to begin working as soon as our office is open. We've already got them in contract.
Okay,
and
wait a
they're going
second.
to be working.
So they don't work for you. You've only got 8 people working for you. So these other 15 people are working for somebody else. So you're subbing out your server
No.
farm?
You're incorrect. No, in contract isn't with us. They've signed NDAs. They're going to be employees of our company. They're going to be W-2 employees here working for Centra. As in contract, I meant they're it's like standard contracts, NDA, security, etc.
Okay, so you don't have 8 people working for you. Now you've got 23.
I said we're not in that operation stage yet. We have these people in contract.
That's what I wanted. Okay, all right. So you don't have these 15 people working for you yet, but they've been identified. They were hired.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
When was the last one of the 15 hired?
Probably like 4 days ago, I think.
Okay, so you don't know. And
No, that's Carrie handles it.
Okay, what's your for these 15 guys? What's your monthly salary run?
It's about 6,000 a guy right now.
Okay.
Plus CTR tokens.
Okay, so and how many servers? How big? What's your electricity costs?
Once again, I haven't. That's my CFO, and I'll get the details of that. And I'll get it published if anybody asks it later on. I don't have that information.
What day is the server farm going live?
It's probably going to go live August 11th, I think. I would have to confirm that with you again as well. August 11th or 12th. I would have to double check a calendar.
So in 6 days, you're going to bring up a server farm, get 15 guys in there to load up all the OS, build in all the APIs, and move over all of the software.
No, everything. The software. Well, the API has already been built. It's just readdressing it into another protocol, in essence, right?
No. I'm saying that that's not the case. If you're talking, certainly not the case. If you're talking about, see, I personally don't understand any bank that would, which banks, and I've been out of the banking business for a while, so it could have changed. But I don't know of any banks that would expose the ACH to the cloud.
It's not. It's first of all, it's our program manager and our processing, and it's not through a cloud. We've already signed contracts with them in regards to what specs we need, and we're going to meet those specs. They've done this. We're not their first rodeo of a company trying to do this. They have specific technical details that they actually made me sign an NDA on.
Sure. No, I understand that. I've been there.
So we have to make sure they're not going to give us access until we meet those requirements. We know what those requirements are.
See, so that's what I want to know. I'm going to have to go back and research it. What day in the last 15 years did any bank allow their API to be openly exposed to a cloud-based app? That's what I got to
Well, it's
find
not.
out because I don't know of any others. You would be the first in my experience where a bank would allow
No,
anybody to
no,
come
I'm
in
saying
that route.
absolutely incorrect. So our cloud server is what our Centra website is hosted on right now. We
Oh,
have a
so
remote
okay,
server.
so all right, so you only host the website on the cloud server.
Correct.
So
Nothing
where's
else. Yeah, nothing
okay?
else.
So where's your cold storage?
Our cold storage right now is in a data center in Texas.
Oh, so now we got an office in Texas, or is this a third
Data
party?
center. Yeah, data center.
So it's a third party. You're co-locating and you got a server that's under the control of someone else.
For right now. That's why we're going into Fort Lauderdale prior to launch.
Okay, and so prior to launch, you'll bring over the cold storage to Fort Lauderdale,
Correct.
and you'll do this in the next 6 days.
Most likely, yes.
Okay, all right, okay. I mean, love to see it. That'd be just really fantastic. Don't believe it can happen, but that's all right.
No, and listen, no, and we anticipate it might be delayed. Our point of just so I can get back to one thing, Cliff, and then we can just go back to it. Just please. Our purpose on our ICO was never to say, hey, we're launching this product in 5 days. If you look at everything that we've stated, we had actually goals of milestones before we even completed the app, before we even completed the gold card, before we even completed CBay, and as far as liquidating our CCE module. So we've never made like promises and aspects of doing certain deliverables besides of what we've placed on our white paper because we
Well,
are
no,
a startup.
you've done nothing but that in our conversation, though. You keep referring to August 19th and how all this stuff's going to happen, and see that gets me really worried. All right, gets me
Well,
really
no,
really
Cliff, you're
paranoid.
wrong. Well, you're absolutely
The
incorrect.
reason for this is, look, you plan the work and then you work the plan. And if you have to accelerate the plans, there is either a very happy circumstance or a very unhappy circumstance, because you never change the plan because it takes a lot to achieve these plans.
Well,
And so
you can
the
delay
idea,
plans. You don't change. You're right. You don't change them, but delays happen. That's part
right.
of the
So
nature.
why did you bring it forward from launching in October until August 19th? What's the idea there?
The only idea that we've launched, we're going to do a soft launch, I would say. I'll get the technical aspects of it more correct. But the reason why we did 819 is because we hit an internal goal, and then we have a license agreement. We want to get the card to the hands of some of our founders, as well as our contributors for our black and titanium level cards. We want them to see that the product is real and it's working. So we're not going to make it actually fully available.
Why do you want to get these in the hands of the contributors? Are you being pressured?
Not at all. I believe that it's the right business decision to make to be able to show the world that the proof of product exists because of all the allegations that can be made, that will be made, that's out there.
Sure. Okay. All right. Then let me clue you in. Let me assume that you're not a scam here and you're not going to run off with the money or stuff, right? And let me clue you in though that getting the product and trying to get proof of product out there opens you up to a level of vulnerability because what if the product is shit and breaks down? Then you're going to have all these issues. That's the big paranoia with businesses.
It's not going to. Well, see, the thing is, that's something you're absolutely correct. That's if you're building something completely proprietary that has never been done before. If once you're building on things that already have use cases and that are already being done, you're not reinventing the wheel. You're just developing another wheel. I'm not inventing a brand new product. I never said I was. I'm just taking what the knowledge and resources that have been done out there and I'm applying it here in the United States. You want to call me a copycat? So be it. You want to call me
no, that's fine. I mean, that's a very good business model. Copycat makes sense, especially if you do it marginally better and, with a...
Right, and in places that's not been done before.
Sure, it makes a lot of sense. However, you also open yourself up to huge vulnerabilities by not doing your own code, okay? Banks and all these people don't do a lot of they have this not invented here attitude because they can't be sure of third-party code and software. So this is a very scary
that's where the independent audit comes in from the third-party company.
No, independent audit means shit, dude. Independent audit in no way does security. They don't hammer your system with 5,000 hackers.
I'm not saying they do that. I'm just saying that they're going to take the results that we provide them to do that, and they're going to verify that we actually did it. That's what an audit does.
Sure.
They want to make sure.
No. You know what an audit does? They run through the code and they make sure it meets certain specific parameters.
I never run through a physical audit. So until I get to that physical point, then
you don't know. So no point talking about it.
I would explain it better.
Okay, so let's not talk about the audit because it doesn't really solve your problems, right? Sure. Because your problem is that the audit is meaningless. All of the code that's ever been cracked in probably the last 3 years, the vast majority of it has probably gone through audits. All right, a lot of the code that has never been cracked.
That's understandable, and Cliff, that's technology. That's
right. But that's my point. See, is that
we're not gonna. But your point is going to the same conversation that we previously had. That's I will
that you're
not.
not going to do anything about security. You haven't folded it into your plan. You don't know how much
No,
to
I
spend
never
in it,
said
and
you're
you
you're
don't
putting
have a
words in my
clue as to how much it's going to
stop.
cost
Come
you.
on,
You
come
don't
on,
have a
Cliff.
clue as to how much it's going to cost you. How much does
I told you it's going to cost
No, 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 no,
$450,000.
no. That's your test. That's your test bid. You don't know how much your security is going to cost you on a monthly basis, defending yourself
That's my
from a.
CFO. That's my CFO. I don't have the numbers on that
Okay,
in
but
stone right
Your
now.
CFO
It's
should have told you that from the minute you put this wallet out there, available for people, whether it's August or whether it's October, it doesn't matter. From that minute on, you've got to start spending X number of dollars to defend yourself against these 9 most common attacks. And some of these most common attacks, even things like DDoS, they're simply subterfuges to divert your attention while someone's trying to crack you. And
Well, can I tell you something? Honestly, this is as good as it gets as a private consultant. You're opening up eyes for myself and as well as notes that I'm taking
And
that I'm going to go.
that's the scary part, guy. That's the scary part. I love you. You're a good guy. I'm sure you're trying your best, but you're also you're naive in how you're going to approach this, and you're going to be stumbling over all of this stuff, and your deadlines are totally unrealistic. And in my opinion, I'm not going to put any of my eth in your project at all, simply because there's too many huge holes, not red flags. It's not like I think that there's some kind of a deliberate scam that way. Although I think you're trying to cover up a lack of I sense cover up in the language. Okay, I also think you've been diluted in the way that your text and documentation has been done. A lot of it's cut and paste. A lot of these people you've been paying have just been cut and pasting stuff back and forth, and it sort of makes you look like quasi legit.
Well, that's it. Well, hold
and
on.
the problem, the problem is
generalization. You can't really go based on that and say
yes,
that.
I can. I've got proof of it. I've got documents here on my, that people have sent me where they've got the exact same language that you guys are using being used in other areas.
No. And
Yeah. And the language that goes from person to person to person on some of the Bitcoin talk areas, it's the same author. It's the same linguistics. I know language, guy. I can tell you that the person that wrote Satoshi Nakamoto white paper, that was a single mind. It may have been invented by a group, but a single mind wrote that.
You're right, and we're not going to be, like I said, it goes back down to the point we're saying we're not developing anything that has not been done.
And you're not doing it very well at what you're offering. Okay, your LinkedIn pages are crap. Your explanation of who
listen, that's your opinion.
Exactly. That's all I've got here is my opinion. From my viewpoint, I'm not going to put any money in your. If you're still around in a year, then so maybe I might try and use your cards.
Okay, so my version of my opinion on that and the contributors that have been contributing to that is completely different. Our vision is broadcasted on our white paper of where we want to go and who our competitors are and what's being done outside of the United States. Our use case, our goal, and our vision is to bring it here in the United States and make it work for for global banking as far as that's concerned.
And you're not going to achieve it by October. You're not going to achieve that by October.
No, absolutely not. We're not going to achieve it by October. Not at all.
And the very first time you run into the real world, very first time you run into somebody like me that says, okay, look, there's this particular exploit I can use against this, and I can reset the time here on this computer, and hey, that thing is screwed from that point on.
Can I make a valid point? Can I make a very valid point? And you're absolutely correct. And you know what? Maybe I haven't done the exact due diligence that I needed to do, and I apologize to the masses and my contributors for that.
Yeah, no, you apologize to your contributors, but not the masses.
So now listen. Well, of course, masses, because we have people that are non-contributors that are going to be using our app. So that's absolutely incorrect. So it goes to everybody. And the point I'm trying to make is that money talks, right? We all know that. We're going to make sure we have the ability to get whatever we need to get done before we launch this product. And that's bottom line. We're right now just in our token sale phase. This is another ERC20 token.
Sure.
We understand that. We designed a rewards program for that to get you kind of a rewards in the network as well, to share part of our money as well. This is not our money maker as far as what we're doing. Our overall goal is CBay as well as Centra Merchant Services, etc. We have a group of other projects that we're going to use to fund everything. Think about it like this, Cliff, and you're a U.S. guy, you should know this. Uber loses a lot of money, right? I'm not saying I'm going to lose a lot of money, but my point and goal for the mass idea of this project that I pitched to my investors, my workers, etc., is, listen, the American dream is to make a lot of money and live peacefully, happily, and bring something to this planet, right? We're going to be able to take a product that's a vision that's been done elsewhere, put it in the hands of masses. Eventually, our company is going to have 100 million users plus. Our company is going to be valued at X, Y, Z. And then eventually, I want to take this company public and take it to another level. Yes, maybe high dreams. Yes, maybe ambitious. Maybe I exactly won't get there to the way I want to get there. But
What's the
I've
difference
executed.
between IPO and ICO? If you're doing an ICO, you're taking the company public right now, and you even mentioned the SEC in the beginning. I'm afraid your
Absolutely. So,
paradigms are not really too skookum
well,
here.
no, I don't even know what Skookum means, but let me explain to the first part of what you were saying. Um, we're a utility-based token. We've stated that everywhere on our white paper website, et cetera. A utility-based token means that that token is accessible and usable on our core line of products, as well as wherever else ERC20 token is compatible. The basis of our token is to be able to use it on the Centra card, Centra wallet, and the CBay network, just like fiat. Because once we hit the market, it's just another ERC20 token. We're going to have growth. We're going to have obviously money into our token. And this is going to be an ICO reward as well, as far as the utility token is concerned. IPO
Okay.
and ICO, two different worlds for me.
Right, exactly so. And ICO is the new funding mechanism. IPO is the dying funding mechanism for the debt-based bank-based economy. The mere fact that you even bring the two up, is a
No,
little disconcerting.
I'm just telling you, I'm telling you just where my vision was. That's all I was doing.
Sure, I understand. Okay, all right. No, I get what you're trying to do here. It's kind of like good luck to you. I do understand what happened to my data. There is enough of what you're doing to actually be semi-solid. It doesn't appear to be an absolute out-and-out scam where you're just going to take everybody's funds, shove them in a wallet, and run off.
No, never.
But you've got huge technical issues you've never even thought of, and at this point, I'd say you're probably. I'd have to put you in the category of the 70% they're going to fail. I don't think you'll last 2 years.
Okay, that's on your opinion. And like I said, my vision and what I'm doing, I'm an executor. I'm going to make sure that I do whatever it takes, whatever it costs, and wherever it needs to go to make it work.
Guy, this is fine, but
And
if you're not 40 years old and you haven't been in business for 10 years, you haven't hit your.
Well, Cliff, that's why I'm trying to explain to you. I'm going to surround myself.
Yeah, but you haven't hit your first business crises yet. See, so surrounding. No. I'm serious business crises where you're about ready to fail. You don't have that. This hasn't happened here.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm going to make sure that I have the funds available to make sure I have a good executive team behind me to back me to make sure that this product goes correctly, and I cover all my tracks. As far as I look at it, I need to make sure that I cover all my tracks to make sure this works properly. And as far as you want to say it, and if it scares you, I understand. But I'm taking everything you're saying, and I'm going to now go double research it and add more to it and see where I can improve. And listen, if that's a bad way to look at it,
you got a big area for improvement, no question there.
Of course.
I'll let you go, guy.
And I never said, listen, we're not ready. We've honestly just went public the last 3 weeks about this because I knew this is not proprietary. I needed to make sure I had my licensing agreement before I even said I had this card because let's say I had to go through the process of getting my licensing agreement, which took me about 4 months. That means I talk about the product, I make a forecast ICO date, and I have 4 months for someone to just jump in and steal my whole entire concept. At least at this point, I have a licensing agreement.
It doesn't matter. All you've got is a 4-month lead time on them. Yahoo search was out there.
And I'm not. You're right. But 4 months is a good amount of time, realistically.
It's a very good amount of time. It's a very good amount of time.
I'm going to take advantage of that. And at the end of the day, listen, people are contributing to our token first. Okay, that's the number one thing. We're going to be a token. We're going to be listed on major exchanges. I already have conversations with Kraken already to be on them. They're U.S. based. They have a partner called Hayward Investments that we know a mutual friend of. We've made a lot of connections to get our token at least. Let's forget the card for a minute, right? Okay. To make our token at least a good accessible product that's going to be able to be made money online. And it's able to be made money online in the following ways. A, we're going to be able to use it on the Centra card, wallet, and CBay. So I'll get to that later.
That's not true. That's not true. It's not on the card. The way you're structured, the card is entirely fiat based. The way you're structured, the card entirely based on this pool. Okay.
You're incorrect. No, because hold on 1 second. You're incorrect. What I'm saying by spending it is it's going to be an ERC20 token. You can spend ERC20 tokens just like your Bitcoin, altcoins, etc.
Sure. But your card has nothing to do with it.
So not only are we making a token that's going to be tradable on the market, etc., but it's going to have an added value to it because it'll be spendable on the app and the card. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay, all right, I understand. But in order to use these things, you basically have to put them in cold storage and trust on your guy's server.
Right, and you made that statement many times, and I've not shot that down. We're just, as far as cold storage is concerned.
And see, that's the big issue for me.
It's just like Coinbase. It's just like Coinbase. So if people trust Coinbase and want to put their money in, our business model is around the same. We obviously don't have the reputation.
I don't trust Coinbase as far as I can throw them.
They're a good. Like I said, that's you. I'm
they're a good exchange. They're a good exchange.
100 million people that do put their money on there. I put my money on there. My peers put their money on there.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just paranoid. I'm just paranoid.
Industry, you know?
Right. I understand about the exchanges and how all that works and so on. But my issue with your particular approach is the card does not ever actually use the blockchain for any kind of validation.
No, and we made that clear.
Okay.
We never said it.
No, that's not true. The white paper makes it seem as though the cards are being validated off of the blockchain.
Hold on.
Okay.
That's your interpretation. If we're going to go through interpretation, let's go through it.
Well, no, we're not. Because you guys interpret it. You didn't write it. You didn't do the graphics. You don't know how much you're spending on anything. All of your answers are mainly probably. You haven't thought about most of the business case. You have no idea of the technicalities that are involved in doing any validation on the blockchain.
That's your summary. That's your summary.
This is my summary. I'm sorry.
And like I said, I disagree. Like I said,
of course you're gonna disagree. It's your particular setup and your system, and I'm coming in and I'm raining on your parade. But
you're not. Actually, this is as good as bad press gets to good press as far as we're going on that aspect of it. But
sure. The good part of this is I don't think you're a scam.
People have to realize that. Okay. Exactly. People have to realize A, we're not a scam. B, we're a startup. We've just launched. We have a long way to go to get this to, let's say, the level of our competitors. We understand that.
Yeah, but you just started in June. You were doing a year ago. You were doing financing for cars. You were in the car bubble. The car bubble popped. You had to get out and get somewhere else. You've shifted over here. You've decided that you're going to do this. This is all of my interpretation, of course, because that's the way it looks.
So listen, do I have to show my W-2? You're completely incorrect.
No. Okay, all right, that's fine.
Well, you have to understand something. Hold on a second.
So when did you actually start this? You've been doing this 4 months, but there's no documentation that goes back earlier than June.
I understand. That's fine. That's because most of it's proprietary to myself and my research and what
I thought
I've
you
done.
I thought you said it was all open source.
As far as the currency conversion, everything as far as the technical aspects, the idea of what I did and how I had to go about getting the licensing agreement, etc., the concept, the formalities, thinking about how to make it so it doesn't.
Sure. But you just also said someone else can come and steal your idea and you're out of business. Or you've got a hell of a competitor there that's, if money talks, then having 7 or 8 or 10 million won't be anywhere near as effective as 50 or 80 or 100 million. And so someone like Visa could come on in and take your lunch in a minute.
Honestly, yes. And once again, you're completely correct. We never stated that we're going to be taking over that aspect. This is a token launch of an ERC20 token that's going to hit the market, that's spendable, withdrawable, and accessible on
Except not now. It can't be accessed. It can't be spent. There are no exchanges handling it. You can't spend it on the cards. I can't do anything.
The token. No, the token's hitting them. People have asked this question. We've answered it on forums. We've answered it on chats. The token does not go into launch until 21 days post the ICO close date or 21 days past the completion of the ICO. So that's of course, it's not spendable now. We never said it was spendable now. Okay. I'm just telling you what the roadmap is.
Sure. I got you. Okay, I understand. It's an ERC20 token. And how many errors have you had with that?
I would have to go through and get that exact number. Plenty.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess there's just no point going down to the technical aspects of it. I think you guys have a lot of technical hurdles. And the fact that you're using open source ICO, basically open source stuff, it puts you at a huge level of vulnerability.
No, that's not. No, hold on. Sorry. The open source, the only thing that's open source about it is the fact of the currency conversion engine, of how it works so that people can see and test to make sure that it's a flawless system. And it works very simply.
So wait a second. So your currency system, it's not open sourced? You're not sharing the code?
We are. Part of it. It's on the rapid transaction portion of it is in our GitHub. Yes, it is.
But nothing else?
Not as of right now, no. We plan on publishing it, but as of right now, no.
Okay, so none of this is open source except for that little tiny bit you put out.
For the most part, yes. We plan on putting the rest of the code up there. I haven't followed up on our GitHub to see what's been on there, to be honest.
Okay, all right. Okay, Guy, I'll let you go. Best of luck to you.
Listen, Cliff, thanks. I appreciate it. I just wanted to take this opportunity to once again thank all my supporters, followers, contributors. Cliff, I appreciate being on the show. My most important thing, honestly, and to make it last statement, please, Cliff, is we're not a scam. That's what I came here to clear up.
No,
I'm
you're,
not a
you're
scam.
not a you're not a scam. You're just not very good at what you're doing, and you haven't really
Okay.
thought about it.
Understood. And I'm not, that's